What a beauty. What a beauty. I see is grace. It's now 6:34 right here on NRP Radio. It's the 16th day of February. We're going to be inviting you now to stand by for the news that we were just waiting on that word to be delivered to you. So here we are this morning with you now. The news is up on us. We're going to do that just about now. So stay with us. We do appreciate your time. We appreciate your company. We respect the fact that you have choices and that you decided that you're going to be spending your time with us right here on NRP Radio and NRP Media on Facebook Live as well as on the YouTube channel. The news is up next. Good morning and welcome to the news right here on NRP Radio and welcome to our platforms, our radio platform, nrpmediaja.com, also Facebook and YouTube at NRP Media JA. It's Friday, February 16. I am Leon Nash with the NRP Break of Day Newscast, and I do apologize once again for the late start and the fact that my voice is not at the optimum, but I'm happy that at least you can hear me. Here are the headlines. The opposition People's National Party cautions members of the public to be wary of the pronouncements by the government in yesterday's throne speech. People's National Party repeats call for the managing director of the National Housing Trust to resign. Several public beaches are being targeted for enhancement in the 2024-2025 financial year. Police seeks public's help to solve murder of a popular entertainer, Medic. And in sports, France striker Kylian Mbappe says he intends to leave Paris Saint-Germain club at the end of the season. The news today is brought to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
NRP Media and Radio.
The most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
Reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
Now, the details of the news. The opposition People's National Party is this morning cautioning members of the public to be wary of the pronouncements as outlined by the government in yesterday's throne speech and later the first sitting of Parliament for the 2024-25 session. Speaking at a press conference at the PNP headquarters in Kingston, opposition spokesman on finance and planning and the public service, Julian Robinson, said the pronouncements by the government were in many instances unrealistic. He spoke about the government's plan for social housing and the dismal performance in that era over the years.
The social housing program, since 2018, it has delivered 200 houses. So on average for the 5 years, that's 40 houses per year. But we are now projecting to deliver 500 in one financial year, when you have only been able to deliver 40 per year over the last 5 years. So you expect to increase by more than tenfold what you have done over 5 years? Not credible.
And Mr. Robinson also took a swipe at the government's recently announced Special Capital Expenditure Program initiative.
This is the third throne speech that I've heard about the Special Capital Expenditure Program for, in my constituency, I know about Lady Musgrave, Arthur Wint, and Campbell. The third throne speech. And whatever the issues are, whether they are procurement issues or not, These projects have not gotten off the ground. So there's a big lag between big announcements and implementation. And certainly for the major infrastructure projects, we're talking about 2 to 3 years. So I want to caution people. The Prime Minister made another big announcement, which we welcome, the START program, where members of parliament will be allocated 150 million. And immediately after the announcement, everybody, all constituents asking when will their road be fixed. But we don't know how long it will take, one, through the consultative process, and secondly, through the procurement process for work to actually start.
And the government's performance in the health sector also risen from the opposition spokesman on finance. According to him, up to the point of the presentation of the throne speech and the presentation of the expenditure package, no accountability has been given to the unaccounted for funds purportedly spent on the retrofitting of the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James.
We have heard about all the major improvements in the health sector, but we have not gotten accountability for the billions of dollars that have been spent on Cornwall Region, which nobody can tell us where that money gone. It is at least about 10 to 15 billion, not million, billion, that the government has not been able to tell us where that money has gone and what can we see for that. Ministry of Education get less than half page. For the greatest challenge that the country faces, we went through the Orlando Patterson report. There is no status on the implementation of the recommendations. You would expect that you would have an implementation to say of the 200 recommendations, we have done 50 already. We plan to be with another 50 in the next financial year. No, but we hear something called trend, transform education for national development. It sounds good, but what we want to know is what is the government doing with those recommendations and where is the implementation?
That was the opposition spokesman on finance, planning, and the public service, Julian Robinson. And the People's National Party is repeating its call for the managing director of the National Housing Trust, NHT, to resign. According to the Shadow Minister of Housing and Sustainable Living, Senator Dr. Floyd Morris, the botched deal between the NHT and Dexim Holdings Limited and the untidy non-disclosure agreement highlights the need for greater transparency and accountability for public officials. Senator Morris says attempts by various individuals to access the information regarding the court order were met with the same response from the NHT that they cannot be released as they are subject to a non-disclosure agreement. Senator Morris says that the document now released proves that the utterances made by the NHT were false and that the NHT representatives, including the managing director, were dishonest in their disclosure to the country on this very serious matter. Senator Morris says all those involved must be held accountable. According to Dr. Morris, the NHT has been an institution that Jamaicans have placed tremendous faith and confidence in, but he added that institution has been one of the best public institutions over the past 40 years and should not have individuals who are going to distort the truth about agreements that have been forged with private companies running the institution. Senator Morris further posited that what is being seen now is the institutionalization of bad governance practices. The shadow minister is also calling for the board of the NHT to resign, as according to him, for this settlement to have been forged with Dexim, the board must have been privy to the settlement and signed off on it. Senator Morris says the entire undertaking was a massive sweetheart deal involving $650 million of public money, and the board must have been privy to its content. The senator also wants the Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, to come clean on the matter and to tell the nation what he knows of the arrangements. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, has announced that expenditure for 2024-2025 financial year has been projected at $1.3 trillion. He also said wages and salaries will be given priority by the government in the upcoming budget. And we do apologize for the absence of that clip as we move along in the news. For the next financial or fiscal year, several pieces of legislation will be brought to Parliament, including the Tobacco Control Bill, Nurses and Midwives Act, and the Pharmacy Act, amendments to the Immigration Restriction, Commonwealth Citizens Act, and Aliens Act, the Customs Act, Private Sector Pensions Act, Income Tax Relief, Large Scale Private Industries Act, and the amendments to the Financial Services Act. Delivering the throne speech, the GG disclosed that ground would be broken to construct the Westmoreland and St. Catherine North Divisional Headquarters, a major milestone in the national security reform agenda. The Governor General also announced that the country has attained 10 consecutive quarters of economic growth since the pandemic, in addition to the country attaining the lowest unemployment rate of 4.2% in the history of independent Jamaica. The balance of payment was also reported to be at an all-time high. Still on government matters, several public beaches are being targeted for enhancement in the 2024-2025 financial year. Among these are the Prairie Bathing and Fishing Beach in St. Anne and the Paget Beach in St. Mary. Governor General Sir Patrick Allen, in making the disclosure, said the projects are part of the ongoing National Beach Development Program. He said that 8 beaches are at various stages of the design and approval process, and that the provision of greater access to suitable public beach facilities to all Jamaicans remains a priority. The Governor General was reporting on developments in the tourism sector as he delivered the throne speech during the 2024-25 ceremonial opening of Parliament at Gordon House on Thursday. In other news, the Police High Command has issued an appeal to members of the public who may have information that can assist them to come forward as they try to track the case to do with the death of popular entertainer 29-year-old Stephanie Williams. The police say persons can call via police emergency 119 number, Crime Stop at 311, or the nearest police station. Miss Williams went missing on or about Thursday, August 24 last year. Up to Valentine's Day, was not seen since. A missing person report was made to the Constant Spring Police by her mother, and as a result of the report, the police commenced a missing person and possible murder investigation. On Wednesday, February 14, the skeletal remains of a body suspected to be that of medic was found in a cane field in Wallen, St. Catherine. Several lines of inquiry were made, several persons interviewed, and statements were recorded. It is also to be noted that several cases or case conferences were held, and significant support was given by the Criminal Investigation Branch, CIB headquarters in Kingston. The remains will be processed and compared with DNA samples to determine the true identity. The investigation continues into the matter. So that's the body of a suspected to be that of medic. The 29-year-old Stephanie Williams was found in a cane field in Wallen, St. Catherine, and the police are indicating today that they will be carrying out DNA tests on the body to ensure that it is indeed that of the missing 24-year-old entertainer. 27-year-old Shalik Hudson, a music producer of Collins Close, Kingston 8, was charged with murder, illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. This following an incident in the community on Wednesday, December 29, 2021. Hudson was charged with the murder of a 23-year-old Troy Beckford, also of Collins Close. Reports from the Constant Spring Police are that about 11:30 a.m., Beckford and Hudson were at a business establishment when an argument developed between them. A physical fight ensued, and Hudson pulled a firearm and shot and killed Beckford before escaping in the area. On Tuesday, February 6, Hudson 2024, that is, Hudson was arrested at the Norman Manley International Airport when he tried to leave the island. He's scheduled to appear in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Thursday, February 2022. Meanwhile, 40-year-old Damien Mamby of Almond Hill above rocks in St. Andrew was arrested and charged with possession of a prohibited weapon and unauthorized possession of ammunition following an operation in Rock Hall Square, Red Hills, St. Andrew on Wednesday, February 14. Reports from the Readiness Police are that about 11:15 p.m., a team of officers conducted an operation in the area. Mambi was accosted and searched, and one Taurus 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 11 9mm cartridges was found in his possession. His court date is being finalized. You are listening to news on NRP Radio, your primary Christian source for news, sports, and the weather on nrpmediaja.com, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations. Let's now move on to give you some sporting information brought to you by Hepburn's Glass. They are located at 13 Chisholm Avenue in Kingston, Jamaica.
Hepburn's Glass Supplies is the latest trend-setting supplier of glass and mirrors in the industry. We specialize in tinted and clear glasses, as well as mirrors for all your windows, doors, and closets at very competitive prices. To maximize your shopping experience, we stock 316 and 1/8 mirror thickness and 316 and quarter thickness in our entire stock of float glasses. We have in stock gloves, cutters, and suction cups at unbeatable prices. Our customer service is second to none, with same-day cutting for your specific measurements. Visit our office at 13 Chisholm Avenue, Kingston 13. Call us at 9080962 or email hepburn.glass@gmail.com. Hepburn's Glass. Quality service is our priority.
And now for our sports stories, we kick off on football. France striker Kylian Mbappe has told Paris Saint-Germain he intends to leave the club at the end of the season. The 25-year-old's deal with the League One Championship is scheduled to expire, and he has been heavily linked with a move to Real Madrid. Mbappe's future was the subject of a major standoff with PSG last summer. At one point, Mbappe was exiled from the first team squad and left out of the club's preseason tour of Asia. However, an agreement was reached and ensured PSG would not lose out when Mbappe eventually left, and the terms of his now seemingly inevitable exit are still to be confirmed. The forward has a one-year extension clause, so it is expected that his departure will involve either a sale with a transfer fee or financial sacrifices on the player's part. While PSG would have wanted Mbappe to remain at the club, his exit looks set to come as they aim to build a younger squad and move away from Galacticos plan that has also seen Argentina forward Lionel Messi and Brazil international Neymar leave since the end of last season. It is estimated that Mbappe, who won the World Cup with France in 2018, earns around 200 million euros per year or $171 million. That should be 171 million pounds. On cricket, England will rue the chances missing on day one of the third test in India, says former captain Michael Vaughan. Joe Root dropped Rohit Sharma on 27, with the home captain going on to make a century in Rajkot. Both Rohit and Ravindra Jadeja, who reached 110 not out. Let me do that again for you. Both Rohit and Ravindra Jadeja, who reached 110 not out, could have been LBW, but England opted not to review as India moved to 326 for 5. England will be happy with the effort, but will also be thinking they could have bowled India out, said Vaughan. England reduced India to 33 for 3, which could have been 47 for 4 when slip fielder Root was slow to move to his left and missed Rohit's edge off from Hartley. When Rohit was on 87, he was hit under the arm attempting a sweep at leg spinner Ryan Ahmed, and captain Ben Stokes decided not to review. Replays showed the ball would have hit the stumps, though there was a question over whether Rohit hit the ball. Finally, on rugby, England cannot blind themselves to their weaknesses despite winning their first two Six Nations games, says defense coach Felix Jones. Jones has implemented a blitz defense since joining England from a similar role with a world champions South Africa. England, who have conceded more tries than they have scored in narrow victories over Italy, face Scotland at Murrayfield on February 24. I wouldn't say I'm overly happy, Jones told the BBC Sport. I don't think anyone is when you're conceding points. So it's a work in progress. There are loads of things still to work on, but also some good bits that we want to retain, Jones added. We are at a level where you can't blind yourself to things that need attention, but you want to draw positives from a tournament where winning counts, he indicated. That's in our NRP break of Hepburn's Glass, located at 13 Chisholm Avenue in Kingston. We promise to bring you a good news story as often as we can. If you know of or are aware of any event or person whose good story we should highlight, please send this information to our email address at nationalreligiousmediaja@gmail.com or call or WhatsApp 876 336 9928. That's 876 336 9928. That's the local news and sports. Stand by now as we bring you the latest from the Voice of America in terms of our international news right here inside of the NRP Break of Day program.
This is VOA News. I'm Michael Brown. AP correspondent Karen Chamas reports on the latest from NASA Hospital in Khan's Yunis after Israeli soldiers stormed inside.
Several patients have died in a southern Gaza hospital as oxygen runs out after it was stormed by Israeli troops. Mobile phone footage inside NASA Hospital in Khan Yunis showed lines of patients on beds in crowded corridors. In recent days, the hospital has become the focal point of Israel's ground offensive. Israeli troops, tanks and snipers have surrounded NASA Hospital for at least a week, with food, water and supplies inside dwindling and fire from outside killing several people, according to health officials. More recently, the Israeli seizure of the hospital caused chaos as health officials said 4 people in intensive care died after their off. Israel's military said it had credible intelligence that Hamas had held hostages there and that the hostages' remains might still be inside Hamas.
Leading politicians, military officers, and diplomats from around the world will gather in Munich on Friday for a security conference that will be dominated by the wars in Israel and Ukraine, as well as fears over the U.S. commitment to defending its allies. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky are among the top officials attending the Munich Security Conference, an annual global meeting focused on defense and diplomacy. The United States does not see signs of an imminent war by North Korea despite incredibly dangerous activities in recent months and its refusal to engage in diplomatic talks according to a top U.S. official speaking to reporters on Thursday. For more news, as always, we invite you to join us at our website, voanews.com, or the VOA mobile app. This is VOA News.
Thank you so much for listening there to the latest VOA News and the international news there from the Voice of America. Stand by now for the weather report and forecast. The National Meteorological Service of Jamaica is reporting that there is a significant feature of a ridge across Jamaica. The ridge is expected to remain across Jamaica through to Sunday. A prefrontal trough is expected to move into the vicinity of the island on Monday. In the 24-hour forecast this morning and afternoon, mostly sunny. Tonight, fair. In the 3-day forecast starting tomorrow, that's Saturday and Sunday through to Monday. Saturday and Sunday, though, mostly sunny, windy across southern parishes. On Monday, expect evening showers across sections of western parishes, otherwise partly cloudy. In terms of other current regional weather features, there is a stationary front across the Turks and Caicos Islands. The maximum temperature expected for Kingston today, 31 degrees Celsius. For Montego Bay, 30 degrees Celsius. That is the latest weather report and forecast right here on NRP Radio. And before we go, here are the headlines once again. The opposition People's National Party cautions members of the public to be wary of the pronouncements by the government in yesterday's throne speech. People's National Party, PNP, repeats call for the managing director of the National Housing Trust to resign. Several public beaches being targeted for enhancement in the financial year. Police seeks public's help to resolve murder of a popular entertainer. And in sport, France striker Kylian Mbappe says he intends to leave Paris Saint-Germain club at the end of the season. This has been news. We invite you to join us again.
God in Luke 1:46 and 47 says, "My soul praises the Lord. My heart rejoices in God, my Savior." This is NRP Media and Radio, 7 a.m.
Join us again at 6:30 this evening for the NRP Evening News Roundup. On behalf of the entire news production teams, I am Leon Nash. Have a good morning. Stand by now for the latest program, that is Let the Word Speak with Reverend Paul Blair, coming up momentarily.
Hello, radio listener. Thank you so much for joining us this day. You're now invited to listen to Let the Word Speak with Reverend Paul Blair. Do enjoy.